Dogs all check. Dog check. No dogs on the bed. No dogs. Oh, yip doop. No dogs on the bed. Got them waiting. They're on the floor. Hey everybody. Excuse me, a problem. We're on episode 147. That's insane. Absolutely bonkers. So, everything's melting down. We're having ourselves a good old meltdown. It is melting. Terra coin became untethered. It's supposed to be 1-to-1 ratio. Now it's like 50 cents. Tether coin, which is the one that in like my third podcast ever, I told everyone, get the hell out of Tether coin, have nothing to do with Tether coin because it's a giant Ponzi scheme. And they've basically stolen about $80 billion and no one knows where it went. And it has now become untethered. Bitcoin's dropped, we're at 28,000? Where were we? Going live here. It's, everything's changing so quickly. BTC, where are you? Yeah, 28.6. Doge is down to 8 cents. Ethereum's about to break below 2,000. Zcash down to $79 at $200 like a week and a half ago. This stuff is crashing hard. And these hedge funds, there was talk earlier this week or late last week about if Bitcoin drops to 21,000, basically every hedge fund you can think of is done. That they've put so much into this. And one of the reasons that Terra coin may have decoupled and Bitcoin is dropping so hard is that BlackRock and Citadel pulled a fast one. They borrowed 100,000 Bitcoins, agreed with Do Kwon to sell those Bitcoins for Terra, and crash the price of both. and then bought back all of their Bitcoins for cheap, and then return those to their lender and crash the price of both of them and managed to make a huge liquidity crisis all at once. There's shenanigans going on all over the place. Coinbase, I think William Morgan's been posting here in the chat early. Coinbase is limiting transfers back to your bank account to $250. Prior, it was like $100,000. So there's been a run on the bank at Coinbase, and they're trying to keep you from taking your money out because they don't have it. It's gone. All these guys doing all sorts of plays with crypto. Crypto is toast right now, and it's only going to get worse. And the market in general is crashing. I mentioned the $21,000 price level for Bitcoin destroying a whole bunch of hedge funds. And this guy was like, you think a 25% drop in Bitcoin's going to kill all these hedge funds? You're full of it. I was like, it's not just Bitcoin. The S&P 500, NASDAQ. Every blue chip stock you think of is falling off a cliff. Interest rates are spiking. We just blew past the expected inflation. They're expecting 8.1 to 8.3%, which is a little lower than I thought it was going to be. And we got World War III on the horizon. COVID's upticking again. We're back to 100,000 infections a day. Yeah. Corporate debt bubbles popping. Bonds are doing the worst they've done in 180 years. 180 years. It's the worst bonds I've ever done. Real estate market, the bubble's popping. Commercial real estate market, the bubble did pop. Chinese bonds aren't getting paid back. Sri Lanka, China, now El Salvador are all crashing. El Salvador took out a bunch of loans at 17% to buy Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has crashed. Basically, their hip libertarian president has destroyed the finances of an already destroyed country in his bid to make Bitcoin cool in El Salvador. So, Luna. I'm wondering if Luna did a reverse split because Luna was trading at fractions of a penny, and is now up to like $1.34 or something. I think they must have done a reverse split to like try and save themselves because they, as a company, I don't think they exist anymore. they're Do Kwon done. All those guys done. Dunzo. So anyway, one of these. Woo! And turn it off. Ha ha, suckers. I'm getting good at this now. I had a bad week. Now I'm on week 2 of a good week. Turn it off. Okay, so. Anything else I should add? Floor dogs, do you have anything to add? No, just that my hands are like absolutely bruised from pushing that lawnmower all day yesterday. Holy smokes. Oh. So I have an acre of lawn and an orchard and a whole bunch of land here. And my riding lawnmower is like perpetually broken. And so I bought an electric push mower. I was like, I just need to get this lawn mowed because the lawn was like that tall. And 6 hours, 7.9 miles of mowing. I am still exhausted. Like I feel like my lower back is going to explode and my hands are just completely bruised from pushing that mower. But when I had to borrow a mower last time, I had to borrow my dad's little mower, and it's like that wide, and it was 9.5 miles to mow the lawn. So, I'll take it. It was like 9 hours. Absolutely brutal. Grandpa Barney, inflation is BS because it does not include food and fuel. I bought the hell out of AMC when it hit 10. All right. Yeah, AMC, the bottom's falling out of everything. Speaking of bottom falling out of things, BK... RedBox, Metamaterial, all of them have cost to borrow rates at 470% to 800%. Meaning, you want to borrow one of these shares, you're already underwater 800% when you borrow it. That's just the fee of borrowing. That's not the interest rate on top of that borrowing. So you want to borrow a share of Metamaterial, which is $1.20, right? You are going to spend like $6, $5 to $6 just to borrow that $1.20 share. So you're already losing 470% right off the top. Or I guess it'll be like 85% right off the top. So why would you borrow at that? Because the intrinsic value of that share is probably $30, $40, $50, $60 a share. And you need to keep everything at bay, especially while all your assets under management are just absolutely taking a shit. So it's just nuts, man. It's nuts. Okay. Yeah, and the fact that they don't include food and fuel, two of the largest expenses that we have outside of like housing, is pretty silly because food and fuel are definitely aspects of inflation. If we were calculating inflation based upon like the 1970s data, the way we did in the 70s, inflation would be like 30 or 40% right now. But we fudge the numbers so that we're like, oh, look, it's not as bad as you'd say. Just like how they've started fudging the numbers on unemployment, so that unemployment, when it was actually at like 20%, it only feel like it was like 6%, because people who just like straight up, I'm never gonna find a job again, and just like would like lay on a couch and do nothing, weren't considered unemployed anymore because they're no longer actively looking for work, even though they had been for like 2 years previously. It's a way for them to juke the stats, I think. Okay. Cal Cooper's got a joke for us. Walking to a bar last night in Bridgeport, California. There's a fella at the bar wearing a three-pointed hat. He has a peg leg, hook for a hand, eye patch over his eye. Ask him, hey man, how'd you lose your leg? Arr, shark bit it off. Oh wow, how'd you lose your hand? Cut in a yardarm off Tortuga. How'd you lose your eye? I was in a crow's nest on watch and looked up and a bird pooped in my eye. Oh wow, you lost your eye from bird poop? It was the first day I had my hook. Classic. It's a classic. Those watching at home, what's a pirate's favorite letter? And all of you are going to say R, but you're wrong. No, it'd be the C. Okay. Javi A. Houston, What is up, Houston, the great educator? Everything is dipping. GME dropping, but holding strong, and will be more. How low can BTC go? How do we know if market makers are borrowing it, selling it? Ooh. If I were a market maker, I would be borrowing and selling Bitcoin like crazy and driving that thing down on the ground, doing exactly what they do with all those other things. Because it's fallen hard. Let's see here if we can get. Yeah, so BTC 28.55 right now. We had a drop to 28.42. So it's looking ugly, man. Looking real ugly. Just cratering, just falling off a cliff. Oh, and by the way, today's shirt is for Jimmy D and the ladies because this one is real tight today. So tight that I can go rah with it. I don't have to do that with shirts very often. So, and I got my Lothario Cowboy shirt on. There we go. That's from a fan. Lothario Cowboy. That's your wife riding on the back of my horse. Okay. What else you got in here? All right, that was Javi. 40 ounce Oracle. Houston, how much brown gravy do you think you could drink before you hurl? Personally, I think I'd do 2 quarts. I could not do 2 quarts of brown gravy. I mean, like, we're just, like, seriously, like, are we chugging? Or are we just, like, sipping? I might be able to get through, like, a quart of brown gravy before my sodium levels get so high that I don't function anymore. Or have a massive coronary from all the cholesterol hitting my system at once. But I think 2 quarts is a bit optimistic. Gun to my head, you know, you could have all of Elon's wealth if you get through these 2 quarts in 20 minutes. I probably could. Just the risk reward factor alone might get me to do it. But if there's nothing really truly on the line, I don't think I could do 2 quarts of brown gravy. That's a lot. That's a lot of salt. Okay. When William Morgan's chatting about all the big losses, SoftBank's down 18.6 billion. Tiger is the largest losses of any hedge fund at 17 billion, dwarfing what happened to Melvin last year. Yeah, these hedge funds are blowing up, man. They might be hedge funds, but it's hard to hedge when everything is dying. You cannot buy enough puts in the world to cover all of your assets under management. It's just not happening. 40 ounce Oracle. Oh, also I saw the episode where we talked about protein powders having heavy metals in them. The Clean Label Project actually did some measurements. The results are horrifying. Yeah, that's one of those, like, tons of toxic heavy metals are in those protein drinks. And none of them are regulated. None of the FDA and the USDA do not look at them. They are completely unregulated. A lot of them are coming from weird factories in China where all they care about is making sure the label looks like you're going to get buff and strong, and that's how you're going to function. But stay away from those things. Dustin Height, doesn't U.S. own quite a bit of crypto? I think the crypto the U.S. government owns is seized property. So people have been arrested. They've seized the coins from wallets and things like that. But most of that gets sold. So every once in a while on those government auctions, like U.S. Marshals auctions and stuff, you will find that they're selling Bitcoins. And sometimes you can get the Bitcoins for pretty cheap. There was one last summer that had 2 or 3 Bitcoin for sale. And I think they sold for about 40% of the actual market price. So it's just a thumb drive with Bitcoins on it, and you buy the thumb drive, I guess. But right now it's probably that 40% deal you got last summer is probably about the price it is now. I mean, Bitcoin's down almost 8% today. Yeah, 7.88%. It's not looking so hot at the moment. Michael K. Houston, did you see the RC tweet about COVID booster 2 inches taller and how Reddit connected it to form N8B2? Can you elaborate as if I'm 5? Thanks. The theory is that the N8B2 form is establishing a new subsidiary under GameStop. And the conspiracy theory idea is that they filed this form and that the dividend is not actually going to be GameStop shares. It's going to be shares in Gmerica or GMC Entertainment, which is the holder of the new crypto platform. Right now, it may look like a terrible time to be launching a crypto platform, but because the new Gmerica platform with Loopring and Immutable X, that platform isn't specifically like just a wallet for your coins and stuff. It is a platform for trading in-game material that people will use separate of the rest of like monkey pictures and Ethereum coins and whatnot. So there is a bit of, new market territory in there that is outside of like what's happening to Coinbase and Binance and everyone else who's blowing up at the moment. Christian Garcia, Houston, big fan. Quick question. If hedge funds or market makers can manipulate the stock... If hedge funds or market makers can manipulate the price, what's to stop them from dropping it to a price they need to cover at? If they could, they would have already. Buying and holding has kept them from being able to get to a price they can cover. And we know they won't cover because they never cover. They will not buy a share until they have to. And the only way they'll be forced to buy a share is the price goes like through the roof. The only way they can drop the price is by flooding the market with more counterfeit shares, increasing their liability, making it worse in the future for when they want to close their positions. So that's their only weapon is, we're going to create more fake shares, and we got more liability for when we do have to cover. We're going to have to spend even more money. So they won't do it until they're forced to, and no one's forced them yet. Iggy Limon, inquiring minds want your stance on Steel Panther. I love me some ironic leather metal. Can't go wrong. I mean, yeah, the band started as a joke, but they shred. So yeah, I'm all about Steel Panther. Nicholas Manelli, Houston, as GameStop keeps going down, does it change the ceiling on how high it can go? Does it matter at all? I think as it goes down, we buy more. So that just means we're coiling. We're like pushing that spring down. That spring is getting pushed down at the moment, and it's going to just take off. So we're coiling up, and we're putting more potential into the energy. Okay. Esco General Sun. Houston, the market is crashing. Fire sales are here. I wish I could know when to start buying. I buy the dip and keep on dipping. It is not the bottom yet. We've got a ways to go. Let's see here. Let me click on the. Gotta click on you. Gotta tether that to. Where are you? There it is. Let's just look at. Okay, so this Dow Jones. This was the peak just before we crashed due to COVID. We got down to 19,173. 2008, right? We're at a peak of 13,000 or so, and we got down to 6,600, right? Before we started climbing out of it. This big dip here probably represents that where we went to 19,000. Probably represents about where the market should have been. Like, there's no reason it should have been up here. It was all smoke and mirrors that made everything get to 35,000. And we have a long ways to go. We're at 31. We should be dropping below 30 in no time. And I bet by fall we'll have seen a dip probably into the below 20. This stuff's crashing hard. The Dow's down 13%. The NASDAQ, with NASDAQ down year to date, 27%, right? S&P 500 year to date is down 17, almost 18%. There's a long ways to go. This thing will correct perhaps 50% down. That's where everything will start climbing back up again. It's I think we're in a big correction. We are in a big correction, entering into a serious bear market. So we got a ways, and if this drops much lower, then the failure to meet liquidity requirements start hitting the hedge funds. The hedge funds start getting liquidated, which is going to drive the price of all this stuff down even more. And so we've got a ways to go. It's only going to get worse. Like the housing market is just peaking right now, ready to go on the downswing. And when that news hits, everything's going to drop more. They've been trying to stave off bad news in the bond market by granting everyone forbearances. They don't have to like quite write off all of that bad investment yet. But eventually at some point, you know, how long can you keep doing forbearance on these loans before you can write them off? Oh, sorry, China. We'll give you a little more time to figure out how to pay us. And then Chinese real estate market dips even more, and these companies that lose even more money. There's no way. There's no way everyone's bouncing back from this yet. There's a lot further to go. Cosmic Cornelius. What effect will housing market crash and rising rates have on getting an apartment? Regardless of timing of inevitable Moass, I'm moving end of July. It should make housing a lot cheaper. When the market crash happened, 2008, let's see here. Trying to go off of like stuff that's kind of standard candles for where I live. So in downtown Seattle, I had a friend that had gotten a one-bedroom condo probably 2006, 2007. They're renting, and they're paying $2,500 a month in downtown Seattle. And then by about 2009, that same apartment was renting for like $900 a month. So it dropped by 50% or more. A lot of homes are going to go on the market for sale. Those homes are going to sell for cheap because no one has cash right now. And trying to get loans is really hard. And because interest rates are spiking, your payments will be ballooning as well. And so people won't be able to take loans out even close to what the average home price is at the moment. Those who bought in the fall, you know, they had really low interest rates. They may come out ahead of people who are buying the home cheaper with higher interest rates coming in. But then again, when the minute the housing market officially is like falling off a cliff, that's probably when we'll see interest rates stop rising. That's when the government's going, okay, now we got to cut interest rates to get spur investment, and we'll be going right back the other way. So you have to move in July. I don't know if everything's going to affect things by July, because what happens is landlords go, oh shit, I can't pay my mortgage. I've got to raise the rent on any place I rent out. And so you'll see like weird spikes in rent, and then places going unrented because someone else who owns their home outright will drop the rent on theirs. People will flock to places like that. And these landlords don't quite understand the rule of it's better to take some money for a year than have a place sit empty for a year. I remember also when the economy collapsed, there's a particular commercial real estate owner on the island who has a lot of the downtown space. And just before everything crashed, he jacked everyone's rent. So, you know, restaurant space was like $8,000 a month, which was higher than you'd find in downtown Seattle. And then the market crashed. All these businesses went under. And he still kept trying to rent these spaces for like $8,000 a month. And they sat empty for like 2 years. So you could have made, let's say, $5,000 a month. Someone would have moved in there. So you could have made $50,000-$60,000 in a year, but instead you made nothing for like 2 years. So what's better? Taking a slight loss and having to cover a little bit on that mortgage, or taking 100% loss and not being able to cover any of your mortgage? It'll take a while for these landlords to get weeded out, but they're usually not the sharpest tools in the shed. So I don't know if things will be ready by July. You may be stuck in a crappy lease while everything else is plummeting. Okay. Where are we? That's that one. Where was okay? I did the Luna thing already. Oh, Meow Meow's here. Ever see the show Lex? Zania Seberg made that show a success. Best sci-fi show ever. Horrible special effects, but lots of sex appeal. I don't know what Lex is. Lex? Lex Jigaroff and brothers Paul and Michael Donovan originally aired in 1997. Wow, that looks terrible. It was on for 6 years, though. Huh. Yep, skimpy outfit lady? No, I've never heard of this. Oh, they're on a giant spaceship that looked like a cock and balls. Okay. So, sounds like something I should watch, though, right? Because, no, never seen it. Never heard of it. What did it air on? Oh, it's from Canada. City TV. All right. Canada, what are you going to do? Canada is, that's where you want your shows to premiere. So I learned this stuff trying to navigate and make my own show. And everyone's like, sign to a Canadian network, get it on a Canadian network first, before you get it onto any U.S. networks, whatever. And the Canadian networks, you sign with the Canadian network, you still have the rights to your show, and you can then sign a distribution deal and get it shown in UK, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Japan, whatever. If you sign with an American network, you lose the rights to distribution and they distribute it. And so you lose out a bunch of money. So lots of folks who create TV for the US market actually get it put in Canada first, because that gives them a lot more power and cash. So if you're ever creating a TV show, talk to Canadian production companies, get it on a Canadian network for the first episode, and then you can sell it to everyone else and make a lot more money. Okay. Knucklehead, Houston, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? 4. That's how much. Derek A, will Be Big only have potential up to record date to squeeze, or would it still have ability to raise after the record date? I think it'll come in 2 parts. One, the price will push up probably starting next week. When's the 18th? 18th is the date of record. The 18th is next Wednesday. So maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we might start seeing a spike. But it takes 2 days to clear. So if your purchase isn't done by Monday, that T+2 for date of record on Wednesday, so the price needs to push up a bit more for it to truly spike. But I think where the big boom for Be Big is going to be 3 months down the road, when shorts are facing liquidation to make up for the fact that they could not provide the Tide shares. That's probably what we're looking at. What are you growling at, you big dummy? There's no reason. You're sitting there. You're on the floor dog. There's nothing to be upset about. You are where you belong. Okay. I think that's what we're looking at is that forced liquidation to cover or close all those positions and provide the tide shares that may or may not be tradable. Well, we'll see. Oh, wait, no, I was going to Lex. Okay. So, Daniel Moats, Houston. I had about 40K in my 401k a few weeks ago. Now it's 32,000. Should I get out of my 401k and turn it to cash? How far might it drop? Don't get out of your 401k. You can sell what's in your 401k and keep the cash in that account, or use it to buy gold or mutual funds or whatever. But if you take it out, then you take a huge hit on taxes. So I wouldn't do that. I would just, like, you can sell what's in there and your cash can remain in some sort of money market account associated with your broker. And that's fine. Just don't take the cash out of that, because then you pay your tax penalty. It's a lot easier now to panic sell and get out of things and not have to worry about being hit by stuff, because we no longer have broker fees. So you're not paying commission. You're not paying a 5% commission to get out and then paying a 5% commission to get back in, which puts you at where you would have been if you waited for the market to crash. So, don't, if you're going to fire sale everything you own, don't remove the cash from that account, because then you're going to pay the taxes on it. You can trade as much as you want inside of there. You can sell things and buy things and do all that. So just keep it inside that 401k. Drew, when's everyone going to wake up and realize the SPY is down like $70 in 1.5 months? Yeah, that's a lot. If you bought puts at market 1.5 months ago, you would be up $7,000. So, not too shabby. Stonkinator, I was able to vote all of my shares. Do you think that means my shares are real? I think everyone was able to vote all of their shares. So, I don't know. Holderson, Houston, do you think this crash will take a couple weeks, months, or will it be more violent from now on? Greetings from Germany. I think we are in the good times still. As much bad news as keeps pumping through your news feed, times are still good compared to where they're going to be 4 months from now, 5 months from now. I think going into the fall is going to seem pretty damn bleak. I don't have much hope for the market as a whole, pretty much for the rest of this year. We still have hedge funds fully failing ahead of us. We have the mortgage-backed securities market failing as well, taking with it a whole bunch of mortgage brokers and banks. We have banks and investment banks possibly failing in all this. So when you start seeing things like, Goldman Sachs is in trouble or whatever, Wells Fargo may not exist, Bank of America could be done. When you start seeing stuff like that pop up in the news, then you know that the bottom is probably still 4 or 5 months out from that. Because all these guys, they'll try to hold on as long as they can, doing what they can, but eventually they're going to run out of tricks, and that'll be that. That's it. That's all she wrote. But we're still in the halcyon days. People will look back and wish, like, oh man, May 2022, that was fantastic. Wish we still were there. We've got a long ways to go. Whole bunch of derivatives have to just blink out of existence before we get to where we will be. Chris R., how about that SPY and VIX both being red somehow? Really? What did the VIX do today? Yeah, the VIX is red, down 1.3%. And SPY is down 1.59%. I don't get it. Makes no sense to me. Huh. All right. Weird. Christina Spy. I know it's been asked on all 147 episodes, but will there be a Moass, or can they just keep this going forever? They can't keep it going forever. We are seeing right now the desperate throes of a fish flopping around on the deck of a boat. Like, it's doing what it can to survive, but it doesn't go on much longer. They can only keep Moass at bay as long as they can keep their margin at bay. If they can't keep their margin at bay and they run out of liquidity and there's a credit crunch in the market and there's nothing they can borrow, no one they can borrow, they can take cash from, no new investors they can bilk, then it's over. And that's when the dominoes start falling and we get our payday. And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the bad stuff, and the bad stuff is coming. We're getting all these little announcements. The canary just died. That was last show. The canary's dead. And now we're waiting for the miners to start. The miners are like, oh no, we're starting to panic. And they're piling up at the elevator, hoping to get out of the mine shaft. And the methane bubble is slowly filling up the room. And they're doomed. That's where we are. If the elevator doesn't come soon, they're so doomed. And I don't see an elevator on the horizon. Drew W. Also, if I bought some GME yesterday, will I be able to vote? No. The date of record for voting was April 8th. So you had to have GME by April 8th to do any of your voting. So, but you would qualify for the date of record for the dividend when that gets issued. Sean Pa, 49 Loopring gas fee to transfer 100 Loopring to a Loopring wallet from Coinbase. Ooh. The gas fees are just so stupid. So dumb. How do you expect to have a functioning currency if 49% penalty just to move your... Like, you go to a restaurant. You buy a meal, it's $100. You're like, oh, sweet. I'm going to buy this meal for $100. And they say, actually, we only got $51 out of that $100. You're going to have to pay us again because there was a leakage from this gas fee. You would not use U.S. currency if that was the case. You would, I don't know, murder people instead and just get away with it for free. I don't know how someone hasn't come along and tweaked that gas fee thing at all. It becomes so useless. It's just so dumb. Okay. Fried Tater Explosion is stoked because they got GME dip at $80. Is that where it was load today? It was at 85 just a second ago. 81.33 is where it is. Is 80.10 was the absolute low at 3:55 p.m. just before close. Goodness gracious. It's all my fault because I bought a call option. The trading at 114. I bought a 130 call option thinking, sometime in the next few weeks it'll spike. And it's lost $30 since the $35 since then. So it's my fault. You can blame me because I bought a call option. If I just waited 3 days, I could have gotten 3 call options for the same price. Maybe 4. Everyone else see the bounce in Luna. I think Luna must have done something weird. They must have done a reverse split because there's no way something that's crashing that hard can all of a sudden go up 21,000% without a weird reverse split. Yeah, I mean, Forbes has, from 9 hours ago, Luna lost 98% of its value. And all of a sudden it bounces back. Just, we're just going to bounce back. Just out of nowhere. There must be something weird going on. Yeah, Terra price. This has it at... So it peaked at $116. It's currently at $106. And Luna coin. Come on, Luna coin, load. $1.20. UST. Terra coin. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I forget that. Terra coin's at 7. No, go away. Leave me alone. Terra coin is at 70 cents. That's 1 year. I want to go to 1 week. So it bottomed out at, whoa, 26 cents. Holy shit. Oh? That, at 5:30 a.m. this morning. Holy crap. So if you manage to buy a bunch of Terra coin at 26 cents, you could be making a killing right now. But it's got a ways to go. Stable. Oh no! Goodness gracious. Other Luna stuff we got going on here. Well, Luna Terra is the big one. Let's go to 1 week. Yeah, look at that thing. Made up to 545 before petering back out again. There, Luna's done. It's done. Don't worry about it. We'll put a fork in it. It's done. JM, the great COVID scam continues. Yeah. Robert Trail, Houston, I think we have a problem. I'm torn because when GME, AMC, and others squeeze, you'll be driving around with monkey butt in the desert instead of your show. Does Houston keep streaming? Yes. I will be going on a road trip in June to hopefully sell a geology show. We'll see. That's probably when everything's going to go bonkers, is when I have to like shake hands with people and do all that. But monkey butt won't be there. Monkey butt will be hanging out at home because it's a pain in the butt trying to bring her into Canada. So sorry, buddy. You're staying here. Her ears just went, what? Yeah. So you'll be at Shawnee's house. It's fine. You'll love it. Big dog. What the hell am I going to do with you, big dog? You're going to a kennel where you're going to eat other people's dogs. And then I'm going to get in trouble. Okay. Scott Pollen. Wait. I'm looking at a prospect near Dryden, Ontario. It is downstrike from existing mine. Pretty cool area. Dryden, Ontario. Where's Dryden? Quick to the Google Earth. Oh no. Google Earth off? It is. Dang it. How did I close that? What happened? Come on. Dryden, Ontario. Oh, out west. Okay. So this is some of the craton here. What's the prospect? What's the claim? What are you guys finding? There's tons of iron ore all throughout this area. Copper too. What mines are out here? Looks like there's a couple right at the airport. That might be some mines. Looks like someone's backyard. It's just a big giant mine. What else do they have out here? There's another one. There's a mine. There is... That looks like water purification. So that's everyone's poo getting filtered. Looks like several mines up here. I don't know what they're mining out here. A lot of mosquitoes though. This is like 9 months of winter, 3 months of bugs territory. My mom did Outward Bound through this whole swamp, and she basically said they just lived inside of a beekeeper outfit because there's so many mosquitoes. Just sounded absolutely miserable to me. Just, you know, losing a pint a day of blood. No, thank you. But cool. What's your prospect in there? I'm curious. Rock Mang, this is a nice shirt. I like this one. This is the shirt I actually wore when I did the cover for when I was trying to sell my TV show. I dig it. Nicole Wynn, thank you for that super chat. You can ask me a question too if you want, or yell at me or whatever. But thank you. Latham Film Productions, Stephen Latham says, GME is going to be the same price as AMC soon at this rate, and I'll be keep scooping up all these shares at those great prices. Yep. I mean, we're seeing the price drop without volume being sky high, which tells us that no one's closing or covering anything. They're just continuing to short, and we're continuing to nibble up what they're offering, but there's been no big explosion in buying. If GME drops, if it gets back to the $40 level like it was February of last year, everyone and their grandmother is going to be buying up everything because they know that split is coming, and they know that the company's got piles of cash on hand, and they know that they're all going to make a fortune off of it, so you might as well. Raider Bo says GME $40 incoming. Maybe. I'll pick it up. Brian Russell averaging back down on the menu 1.5 years later. Yeah. Nicholas Rodriguez. Houston, I love the show. Thank you for all you do for the community. By the way, do you think the ramifications of the real estate market and equity markets will finally pop the Toronto real estate bubble? Very real potential. The Canadian real estate bubble is so far beyond the U.S. one. And here, all I have to do is look at these two places. The United States of America, below the 49th parallel, it is a mostly functioning habitable place. Canada, 90% of your population lives within 100 miles of the U.S. border, right? All of this is, for the most part, unlivable. So your real estate is packed into this narrow band along the border. Oh, you guys can't see because I don't have my... Okay. Sorry, look at this place. That's what I meant to show. I'm looking at the map. You guys can't see shit. This is all habitable. You can live pretty much anywhere in here. A couple spots in the desert make it hard to live. But for the most part, everywhere else, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Canada, you have about a 100-mile band from the border, with a couple of exceptions of like Edmonton and Calgary. They're a little bit further away, and Winnipeg. But for the most part, everyone's within a 100-mile border of the United States because this is just bugs and swamp and tundra and horrible winters and death. So not very many people can be supported out here. Places like Toronto, the largest city in Canada, the real estate is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And it's not because of folks living in Canada. It's because of international investors. And so these international investors are money launderers, crime lords, drug dealers, dictators, oligarchs, Chinese billionaires, you name it. They're buying land, or they're buying homes, or they're buying condos at absolutely inflated prices as a way to get their wealth out of whatever terrible country they're coming from. And they want to get that money out of that country and into a hard currency environment like Canada. And so they'll buy a luxury condo in some high rise here in downtown Toronto, and they'll buy a luxury condo at an absolutely inflated price, which will cause the average price of all the other condos to go up, which then becomes only affordable to oligarchs moving their money offshore. And that starts to spread into all these other homes. It happens in the New York real estate market, and it happened big time in Vancouver. And what Vancouver did a couple years ago, because the triads were definitely gaming the market here. So in Vancouver, which is like condo central, they made a special tax that thinks at 1% or 2% a year for any unoccupied building. So if you bought a building for $1 million, you're going to be spending an extra $10,000 in taxes on that building. Now, if you bought a $7 million house, because you are some sort of Chinese triad, whatever, and that house is sitting empty, you're going to pay a $70,000 a year extra tax. And so what they started doing was they started renting out these mansions and penthouses and stuff for pretty cheap, because they just needed a body to be inside. Otherwise, someone's going to look along and be like, oh, no one's living in there? We're a huge tax. And that was part of a way of keeping prices down and making rents affordable. Was all of a sudden you have a mansion in North Vancouver renting out $400 rooms to college students. And so people were living in pretty shishi places. The next step that Canada did was they basically banned foreign buyers for 2 years. So if you don't live in Canada, you cannot buy a house or property for the next 2 years. We'll let this thing cool off because we cannot take any more of you folks buying empty houses and leaving them empty, causing this pool of to shrink, the pool of available housing to shrink. I think the next step that Canada and everyone else is going to have to do is some sort of regulation for Airbnb. Because you get to a place, down here in Louisiana, right? You go to New Orleans. And if you were to look at places, let's look at it on, okay. Let's go to Airbnb. Let's eat shit. Don't give me those things. Okay, I'm going to turn that off for a second. Let's do, how do I want to go to the globe. Nope. Come on. Okay. Oh, that's what I want. Okay. Let's go to New Orleans. Let's go. I don't care. We'll check in June 23rd to the 29th. Whatever. Okay. Let's look at a map of New Orleans. And everything's booked. Let's go to winter so you can see how many there are. It's not giving me what I want to see. Show me. It's only showing me the ones that are listed on this little thing. I want to see. There's over 1,000 stays. This is a terrible map. I did a terrible job trying to illustrate this point. What it should show basically is this entire map is all Airbnbs, but it's not popping up. So I wonder if I should go to Kayak be better? We're going to do stays. We're going to do... Sorry, I want to just show this map as absolutely something ridiculous. Okay. New Orleans. And we'll also make it several months away so you can see as many possible. There we go. Okay. Search. I did New Orleans, Louisiana. Okay, go. And sort by map. Come on, give me that map. Give me that map. Give me that map. Go to map. There we go. Come on, man. Show me the map. Load up. Load up. How come we're not loading? Still trying to load. Still trying to load. My example's failing miserably. Anyway, I'll have to go to just verbal. I didn't mean to close that. Shoot. Close all that. Okay, close. Okay, so many homes are being taken off the market by vacation rentals, Airbnb, etc., that people can't rent homes. If you can make $5,000 a month doing Airbnb, you're not going to rent your home for $800 a month, right? So, because you're making $5,000. So there has to be some sort of regulation that happens with these Airbnbs. Either limit the number of them, limit how they get used, how many times a year they could be rented out, the length of time. You go to a city like Carmel, California. Oh, yeah, Google Earth's still up here. It's still just blankness. Google Earth, I forgot to turn that on. You go to like Carmel, California, which is a very ritzy, expensive place. Carmel by the Sea, which is down here. They limit rentals to 1 month periods. You cannot rent a place for less than 1 month. Otherwise, you got to stay in a hotel. And we may have to see things like that happen elsewhere in the country where if you're going to do Airbnb, the shortest Airbnb stay will be a month or something. Otherwise, you can you'll have to go to a hotel, and I'm sure the hotels would love that. The homeowners may hate it, but renters would be like, fantastic. I do not want to have to compete with vacationers spending $200 a night for a home that should be $800 a month. So, meh. Citadel asks, sup? When do you see the housing market crashing, and can you elaborate more on 21,000 Bitcoin being the mark for hedge funds to go under? Thanks. Well, I think the housing market is in the act of collapsing right now. I think we are just going over the peak, and this summer is going to be pretty brutal. We usually don't see a summer downturn in housing. Summer's the buying season, but with interest rates spiking the way they are, and the market itself crashing, a lot of home buying has been done with cash. Not with people that taking out a mortgage, going like, oh, I'm going to take out a mortgage, and I'm going to put 20% down, and I'm going to get myself a house. They're not doing that. What they're doing is, hey, my Bitcoin and my stock values are super high, so I'm going to take out a loan against my holdings. I'm going to buy a house with cash because I just don't want to bother competing with anybody. And that's how a lot of homes have been getting purchased. Now, what we're seeing is the value of those assets crashing really hard, which means the collateral that they put up for those loans on equity in their assets are going to come due. And a whole bunch of homes are going to get taken as collateral to pay off those loans. And what are you doing, you weird dog? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come here. And so there's going to be a limited amount of competition all of a sudden in the market, because no one's going to qualify to buy a home anymore. Oh, you're such a sweet dog. Come here. Come on. Come say hi. There we go. She is just the sweetest dog. So that's... There you go. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. We're just now falling off that ramp on the downswing of the roller coaster. Nicole Wynn, here's Nicole asking a question. There we go. Houston, when do you see Moass happening for AMC? I've been holding since January 2021. What will be the final catalyst of the squeeze? I think the catalyst is going to be the combined crash of the market and GME dividend. That's what's going to trigger all of this. And so I'm looking at some point this summer, stuff going nuts. Maybe even the end of this month, stuff's starting to go nuts. They can't hold off too much longer. The assets under management are shrinking. And the only way they're keeping margin calls at bay is that everything they're shorting is also dropping with it. But the minute one of those things becomes untethered and starts to swing the opposite direction, such as their short positions, then they're going to be beyond that 30-to-1 margin ratio, and they're going to be facing margin calls. And no one right now has the cash available to fight that. Like look at what's happening to Elon right now. Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter, which financially was just a dumb thing to do. He has to put up like $70 billion of Tesla as collateral on a loan to get $20 billion back to buy a 50% share or so of Tesla. Now, he faces default if Tesla stock price drops to like $570. And since he made this deal, the stock price has dropped almost $300. So he's $230 away from losing $60 billion in Tesla shares, or Tesla shares that were $60 billion a month ago. And his investors, the people who are like, yeah, I'll help you out. I'll throw $1 billion here, 500 million there, 10 billion here. All of them are probably collateralizing their assets to come up with cash to make these purchases. And all of them are facing, a 20% drop in their holdings. So this entire deal to buy Twitter may completely collapse based upon the fact that all of their fake money doesn't exist anymore. All their crypto holdings gone. But at this point, I think Elon Musk is deeply red on his Dogecoin. I think it's below what he paid for any of it. So yeah, we're in that catalyst zone. We're waiting for these guys to give us news as to just how terrible everything has gotten. Everyone's gonna try and like put a smile on their face and pretend like they aren't hurting, but every single fund across the board is just hemorrhaging right now. It is we are in the deep red. We are in full on meltdown mode. Hence the title of today's show. Okay. How far? Oh, I'm only an hour behind the chat. Woohoo! Okay. Dylan Miller, Houston should meet up with Nick Zentner and talk about rocks. I don't know who Nick Zentner is, but sure, I'll talk about rocks with anybody, man. Sean Marcos, instead of closing short hedge funds are selling cryptos to naked short more GME. They're going to fight this bitter end. Thoughts? Yeah. I mean, they have to sell their crypto just to meet margin requirements right now. So they need cash, and they're dumping crypto like crazy to meet cash. And there's no buyers. You don't hear about anyone out there like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go buy myself 50 Bitcoin. No, they're dumping Bitcoin like crazy. And it's all selling probably fractionally to, a bunch of bag holders. Oh, I shouldn't have closed that. I should go back over here. Go there. Let's just look at what BTC is doing now after hours. And we spiked. We're back up to 29,000. So maybe there are some people picking up some Bitcoin all of a sudden. So there you go. There you go. Where did I go there? I need to close that. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to close that. Nope, close that. Close that. There we go. Oh yeah, Bitcoin back up to 29,000. So it hit its bottom, and now we're getting a little bit of a dead cat bounce, and then tomorrow we're gonna have more bad news, and it's gonna fall off a cliff again. Man, this is wild, man. Sorry, people ask questions and I don't know quite who they're. They always ask some weird questions. I have no idea. What's up with your boy Jamie Martinez? I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Chris Miley. How is AMC and GME falling so hard if nobody's selling? Are hedge tards shorting more naked shorts? Are they selling long? What goes on? I mean, we're still buying. Like, there's people still chatting like, "Hey, I bought some dip." That is them buying shorts that are being sold. So the market's getting flooded with nakeds at lower and lower and lower and lower ask prices, and we're scooping it up. So we're just spoon feeding ourselves with naked shares being sold by the short hedge funds, because there's no way any of you are going to sell at $80 when a lot of you have probably over the last 2 years have a average of 130 or something at this point. So you're not selling. You're buying more. You're averaging down, but you're not selling. It's not coming from actual investors. It's coming from hedge fund shorting. So yeah, that's how they're bringing it down. Just in my head, if my kid is red-green color deficient, what is the best age to buy him in chrome glasses? Don't want him to become dependent on them, but I want him to be able to experience full color spectrum. Ooh. Oh man, if you ever want to have your heart feel full and weep tears, all you have to do is go to YouTube, watch like full ass adults get the Enchroma glasses where they can see color for the first time, and the sheer beauty of life hits them in the face so hard, and they just like break down in tears. That, and like little babies that got cochlear implants or got glasses for the first time, they can hear their parents or see faces. It is just, it'll like just take your little heart and go snap, and just absolutely just bawl your eyes out. I don't care what kind of tough guy you are. You cannot watch those videos and not just bawl like a baby. Just the beauty of those folks experiencing something that we take for granted. It is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But what is the best age? Oh man, I think the youngest kid I saw with them was maybe elementary school age, maybe like 4th, 5th grade on one of those videos. And he definitely like broke his brain with the beauty. If and when you give it to them, you need to go to some place that's vibrant, like a botanical garden or something, a national park, somewhere with just absolutely vivid, vibrant colors, a beautiful blue sky day, and get them those Enchroma glasses so that all that stuff hits them in the face. I remember when I got my first pair of glasses, I didn't need glasses until I was in my early 20s. And when I was training to go to Europe to play baseball, I was in the batting cage, and all of a sudden I couldn't see I could always see the spin on the baseball, which way it was spinning, frontwards or backwards, and I couldn't see it anymore. And I was like, that's weird. So I went to a doctor's office, and they did the thing, and they got my first pair of glasses like a week later. And I didn't realize that all the paintings in the doctor's office were like pointillisms. And I put the glasses on, and I was like, holy shit, those are all dots. Oh my gosh, those are leaves on all the trees outside. Like, my brain had slowly stopped recognizing that life is made up of tiny little things, because I just couldn't see it anymore. And that was just mind-blowing. But it was brilliant that the doctor's office had made all their paintings that way, so that people got their glasses, they're like, oh shit, this is what I'm missing out on. So I think, wait until they're at a point where they can really truly appreciate. So maybe like 4th, 5th grade. I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I can't say what age they'll appreciate it most. But if they've gone through a good chunk of life, I think they will fully appreciate what all that color means to them. And I think those glasses are so cool, absolutely so cool. So when you're done with my show, go down a YouTube rabbit hole and watch people just have so much joy in what we take for granted. Meow meow. Space 1989. 4 minute 30 seconds into the first episode, the guy's helmet opens in space on the moon. He lives. Okay. I don't think I noticed that, but I'll take a look. Space 1999. 4 minutes 30 seconds in. Noted. Thank you, meow meow. Crispy 101. P.S. I can still buy MMTLP in Canada. All right. Or Canada's, as you wrote. I think you can still through Fidelity if you call them. Scott Pollen, never felt more confident in my decision to invest in transforming brick and mortar company to a tech company. They have been cutting overhead, accumulating cash, and have a plan for new revenue. Yeah, they're doing battle, man. They're going to war. And then Lost Waves, what's up with your boy Jamie Martinez? I don't know Jamie Martinez, so who's that? There's like, if I Google it, there's like 900 Jamie Martinez's, so I have no idea who Jamie Martinez is. Sorry, Lost Waves. Scott Paul and A. Diaz or Daphne today? I don't know. Do we have any mods in here today? I'm gonna have to deputize some people here if there aren't any. Oh, Protege Sun's in here, so we have Protege Sun. He might be the only mod raging right now. Carlos R. Hey Wade, Jersey in the house. What can I do right now to save my 401k? Sell. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but the market's dropping hard. So, invest in stuff that goes the opposite direction when the market rips or the market drops. Gold. Let's see what's gold doing right now. Gold is going up. So we're still at 1800, which is where we've been kind of bouncing around for a while. But that just means gold's stable right now. So would you rather have your money stable and deal with inflation, or deal with inflation and lose 30% of your portfolio? Right, monkey butt? Right? Yeah, your tail's wagging. You agree. Dog agrees. So, she can pick them. Right? Get up there. Get up there, monkey. Hi, big dog. You just left the biggest drool pile on my leg. It is disgusting. You are a disgusting beast. Oh my goodness. You were so gross. You were just so gross. You were just a gross, hairy monster. Okay. Stupid chat resetting again. I gotta scroll all the way up here. Oh, okay. I lost out a bunch of chat from that reset. So, what are you doing? Yes, I'll pet your head. Just don't put your cold nose on my hand. Mr. Lacuna, won't a split drop the price to a point where shorts might be able to feasibly cover? No, because they will still owe 7, 8, 10, whatever, however many shares get divvied out in that dividend. They'll have to buy those and cover and close all of those positions for the synthetics they generated. So if you have, this might be time for calculator. Where's my calculator? Did I close my calculator? Ah, shoot. Calculator. Oh, dude, you're just burping all over me. Come on, man. That hot breath on my hand was gross. What are you doing? Quit burping on me. Okay, go there. Go to turn that off. Oops. No, turn that off. That's what I want off. Okay. Calculator. So there's 70 million shares, 76 million shares in existence, right? And 76 million shares in existence, and we do a 7-to-1 split, or 7-to-1 dividend. So then we end up with 532 million shares. If let's see here, if 70%, is that about right, big dog? 70% are held by in the float. So 7% of that is in the float. So 372 million shares all of a sudden in the float. But if there are 1 billion synthetics, right? So this is 372 million shares that are available for them to buy. Like, oh, whoa, from 76 million to 372 million. Whew, that's fantastic. Because if there are 1 billion synthetic shares, right? And that means there is, 7 or 8 billion shares that they all of a sudden need to put into all those synthetic accounts that they can't. And they only have 372 million shares from which to buy, to close all those positions, or to at least cover the short positions. They can't. The shares do not exist. They can't do it. And it's only going to hurt them. It's not going to help them. It's only going to get worse for them. And that is what we're looking forward to. Ryan Russell, the price they cover at means nothing unless we sell them shares. Bingo. If we aren't selling our actual physical real shares, they can't close shit. So, they can buy all the synthetics they want, but if they owe their lender, they can't use that synthetic to pay back their lender. They got to use a real share, which means they got to buy each share 15 times to do that. So, all they can do is they can delete synthetics from existence, but they can't use them to close out other positions. Justin Kappa TV, can you explain why these Tether coins are being untethered? How can they say they are stable in the first place? No, I cannot. They use weird algorithms that I think the algorithm should just be you can only buy this or sell this for $1. That should be the entire algorithm. That unless there's someone willing to pay $1, you cannot buy one of these coins. Period. End of story. I don't know why they use all sorts of weird algorithms when they can just use an absolute 1 equals 1. If price does not equal 1, no go. Okay, that guy, I've missed a few streams. Girk is saying that a stock split might not cause a recall if the risk to the lender is too high. However, a reverse stock split would cause a recall. I don't know if I agree with that. A reverse stock split would cause the price to go through the roof, but it doesn't necessarily force recalls the way this would. This would force a recall because the tax liability of receiving a payment in lieu instead of the actual dividend is great. Because if you are a lender and you are Vanguard or Fidelity or whatever, and you have your 1 million shares and you're expecting to get 7 million more shares out of that at whatever the price is trading at $100, you're supposed to get $700 million in shares. But instead you get $700 million in cash. And that $700 million in cash is taxable at 37%. So you are going to be paying a boatload in taxes that you weren't expecting to pay when you could have just had a bunch of shares instead and not pay any taxes until you sell. And if you don't plan on selling, then you're not paying any taxes. So I think that this, I disagree with Girk on this one. I think that this means, this way is what causes recalls. Ooh, too. Can you send Luke Metcalf a message? Tell him Lion Trader would feel betrayed. Luke Metcalf, Lion Trader would feel betrayed. There you go. Dude. Someone takes a step somewhere else in the house and the dog's like, Durr! Like, I try to imagine, like, the other day, what if humans had the lizard brain of dogs? And anytime there's a bump, we're like, bark, 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 bark. We just go crazy. Or if when we went to dinner with friends, we just sat there and just stared at each other while we ate. Like, watching you eat food, just take that from your plate, put it in your mouth. Oh my gosh, I could watch this all day. And then when you're done eating, we're like, oh, I didn't get any of that. Can you imagine if we like just begged the same way? It'd be so weird. Just following you around, staring at you, waiting for you to drop something on the floor. Kostadinov. I wonder if LRC will skyrocket when GME price goes to Alpha Centauri. Thanks. I love your stream. It can't hurt. I don't think the play is necessarily Loopring coin, but because of its association with Gmerica, that gives it a little more gravitas than other coins that might be trading right now in bombing. Where's Loopring and all this? Well, how bad have they been getting hit by the rest of this stuff? Yeah, Loopring coin take a big hit. It's down to 41 cents. It's down 25% today. Goodness gracious. It had a high in fall. Yeah, November we hit 337. So unless you bought In October, you were red. I mean, in October, we were right back to the prices we were for Loopring back in October. So we're probably waiting for some more good news. You guys can't see. I forget these things. You can't see what I'm doing. I gotta go to there and shabam. So unless you bought here in October at 41 cents and it's now back at 41 cents again, you are red. Red. Some of you are very red. You're down a whole bunch from November. And volume was insane. The volume was really high in November as well. Right now the volume is non-existent. I don't know if you guys can really see. You can see a little bit these big volume bars down here. Absolutely just bonkers. And then not much, a little bit of bonkers when the announcement of the dividend was coming, and then it's dropped off. And so the volume's not there, so we need some more news about this whole thing. We need the official launch of the market. Go from there. Okay. Graham Monroe Lutters. Do you think the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, OCC, is as corrupt as the SEC? I'll be honest, I don't know enough about the Office of the Comptroller of Currency. I have to look up more about them to make an opinion, but I think that the US dollar right now is gonna go in the shitter, mainly because supply chain is so fudged up. I don't know if you guys saw the Northeast United States Pilots and Love's truck stops said that they might be running out of diesel fuel. And if they run out of diesel fuel, then people are going to starve. Like, grocery stores are not going to get filled if there's no diesel fuel for those trucks to move stuff around from warehouses to grocery stores. The supply chain is about to get really messed up in ways that we have not seen in modern American history. That's another big, giant tumble. I mean, if in the news you start to see on TV, read in the Wall Street Journal, like, hey, New York City's out of food. What you see today in the market will pale in comparison to what's going to happen as it just falls off a cliff. It's going to be absolutely bonkers. So anyways, I got distracted from the OCC thing. But the US dollar as a currency, as most currencies, is just going to take a giant hit because we are in such a dire strait with supply chain, and which means it's going to take more dollars to get anything done because there's limited supply, and that's just going to cause more inflation, and we're going to see CPI just continue to rise. We are only in the beginning days of how bad it's going to get, and they're going to keep raising interest rates, and all it's going to do is going to cause housing to fall off a cliff. So that right there is going to be something that's going to mitigate inflation, is cheaper housing, but that's still months and months out. So we still have, tons of folks still having to use gas to get to work and to go places, and it's going to cost them money and time and everything else. So, yeah, that's where we are, man. So deal with it. Bitcoin. Western Florida, number one of homes for sale, has doubled overnight. Many purchased 1 or 2 years ago, 1 million plus homes. Florida is a bellwether for the housing market. When the market bottomed out, you could buy a waterfront Miami Beach condo with a boat slip, right, for like $40K. So you could put your yacht, had your 3-bedroom condo, and you could buy it for $40,000 in 2010. That condo today is selling for $3.5 million. So if you guys want to flip some money around when you get your big chunks of cash, maybe invest in some Florida real estate to flip a few years down the line, because it's going to come crashing down again, just like it did in 2008. Yeah, there's a lot of folks that are going to be going back to work because their Bitcoin and everything else is disappearing. Some of the crypto crashing we're seeing is essentially margin calls happening on crypto investors who borrow. So you have guys that, they may have bought their Bitcoin early. They may have bought Bitcoin at $500, $600, whatever. It was worth $60K. So, I can use that. I can margin, and I can make other plays. And so they made these other plays, and then all of a sudden Bitcoin halved in value, and they're getting margin called. And they have no way of raising liquidity because they're just some dude bro who, is trying to get laid at the bar and be a dude bro, never had a real job. And now all of a sudden he's like, I got nothing. They took all my coins out of my account. I have nothing, and I have to go get my first job in my entire life. We're seeing the effects of what diamond handing in combination with borrowing on margin means, and a lot of these guys are learning these really expensive lessons. It's going to be such a weird, the footnote in history trying to explain everything to everybody about what has gone down in this particular market is going to make the tulip bubble look like a hilarious aside compared to this. People can be like, there was a giant bubble in fake money that you could neither touch nor hold. And that bubble, the money wasn't being used as money, it was being used as an investment strategy. And then it all collapsed because it was all phony and never existed in the first place. That is basically what we're going through right now. You had fake money that had intrinsic value based upon greater fool fallacy. You borrowed hundreds of thousands of dollars on that fake money. And then you used those $100,000 to buy more fake money, and then everything came crashing down, and you lost it all. That's kind of where we are. Meow meow. Karma is our sugar mama. Let's put that on a bumper sticker. Karma is our sugar mama. On the back of your Volkswagen. Man, I am like so far behind in the chat. How did I get so far behind the chat? How are there 600? That's because there's 600 of you in here. That's why. Holy smokes. That's why I'm so far behind the chat. I got like half an hour left in me before my voice falls out of my throat. Aaron Salentine, Houston GC boss blunts DD on June 3rd, cutting off Chinese assets to U.S. institutions. Hedge funds are screwed and will run again like last year. But this time there's no way out. I've seen it. I've read it. I'm waiting for it. Our GME meeting is June 2nd, and June 3rd, all the Chinese assets get pulled out of assets under management, counting towards their margin, and they don't have anything to replace it with. They can replace it with blue chips, but blue chips are falling. So if you sell those Chinese assets now, and you buy blue chips, that value is going to drop as well. The reason why you wanted bonds for so long as those assets was that the bonds stay at a steady level because they're receiving payments at all times. But those payments are starting to disappear or not happen, and the bond levels are dropping, which is why we're in the worst bond market in 180 years. It's wild, dude. It's absolutely wild. Scott Pollen says, Houston rent not earned is a write-off for commercial properties. There are huge tax benefits to leaving commercial property empty. I'm sure. But if you can't pay the mortgage, waiting on those tax benefits may not be the best method there. KJS is a good time to buy gold and silver since pound, dollar, euro will crumble soon. Will we return to the gold standard after this incoming global crash? I don't think we will ever return to the gold standard. The thing about the gold standard means that you tie your currency to gold. So you might say 1 ounce of gold is worth 1,000 US dollars. So you should be able to go to a Federal Reserve Bank and say, hey, I've got 1,000 US dollars. Give me 1 ounce of gold in return. There is not enough gold on Earth to handle this. So you would have to make the tie something like 1 ounce of gold is worth... let me do the math here. 1 sec. Okay, 2,400 metric tons. All right, go to the calculator here. All right, calculator, turn off Chrome. All right, so there are 244,000 metric tons. That means there's 244,000 kilograms. Times another 1,000. Whoops. So there's this many kilograms of gold, 244 million kilograms of gold at 2.2 pounds each at 12 troy ounces per pound. It means we have 6,441,600,000 ounces of gold in all the reserve banks and all the fingers and necklaces and gold coins on Earth, right? So if you wanted to guarantee every single human being the ability to buy 1 ounce of gold from someone, globally, what price would you have to set gold at in US dollars for that to happen? Well, you can't, because there's fewer ounces of gold than there are human beings on Earth. So that means there's no ability for humans to own gold whatsoever, or own an ounce of gold. They can own fractional bits of gold, and some can own more than others. But how much is in... How much... that gives me gold medals. I want... how much gold in Fort Knox? So there's 147 million ounces of gold in Fort Knox, which isn't even an ounce per person in the United States. So you'd have to make the value of gold tied to the ounces so that not every American can walk into a reserve bank and go, give me an ounce of gold, because there's not enough ounces of gold. So you might have to tie it to $5,000 or $10,000 an ounce in order to make that viable. And I just don't think we can have that system. It worked when there was only 90 million people in the United States. And we had silver certificates and gold certificates and all that stuff. But I just don't think we'd go to a gold standard just because there's enough gold. If you have a run on the bank with gold, then your gold standard will fail as well. Just like we're seeing the Tether standard for all these Tether coins is falling. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Just in my head, when housing crashes, what will tell us bottom is in? Ooh. I think the bottom came about 2 years later. 2010, 2011, somewhere in there was the absolute bottom. My brother bought his cabin. During those years, the price of that cabin had gone from $400,000 down, and then he bought the crappy little cabin for $113,001. And that was 2012, I believe. So that was almost 4 years after everything shit the bed was the bottom in our market. So maybe a while before things recover. Because it takes a long time. Because, once the economy dumps, then people lose jobs across the board. There's huge layoffs and corporations and banks and everything collapses and fails. And it takes some time to build back up to the point where people can, get through their bankruptcies, short sale their houses, do all that stuff, and then get ready to start buying again. So, yeah, it's about a 4-year turnaround, probably. So if the market starts collapsing this summer, maybe 2026 is when it really starts to upswing again. Let's see here. Can I look up? All right. Can we see this guy? Oh, it looks like maybe Q4 2011. So just about 2012 was the national bottom. Was in there. Maybe Q1 of 2009, but there were two little dips right next to each other on the graph. So, yeah, so if the spike was Q1 2007 and the last little bottom was Q4 2011, then yeah, about 4 years for it to really start climbing again. And then it flattened out from 2018 to 2020, and then it's just straight up. Oh, you guys can't. I forgot to. You guys can't see what I'm doing. I hate that. I think my greatest flaw, other than double intros, which I've gone almost 2 weeks without double intros, is I forget to show you what I'm looking at. And I'm so stupid. Anyway, so this represents kind of the flat bottom that happened. So we're at true bottom 2009, and then before things really took off was quarter 4 2011. But from quarter 2 2020 to today, that is unsustainable. That graph right there. We went from medium home price of 322 to 428 in 2 years. That's not good. Especially the same height from 1990 to 2007. Right? There. Yeah. So we've done in 2 years what took the economy in 17 years to do prior. That's crazy. 117 to 257, so that's 140,000. 322 to 428, so that's 104,000. So 104,000 in 2 years, and 117, 150, 140 in 17 years. Yeah, this is bonkers. Not sustainable at all. Grandpa Barney, my co-worker's friend, lost 1.7 million on Terra. What? Had a loan against it, margin called, then liquidated. Now owes 89,000. He's a mess. I just found out. Holy shit, Grandpa Barney. Yeah, this is the stuff that's just hammering these dudes. And yeah, if you're on margin and you don't know what you're doing and you're playing with something that is really volatile, man, I have no response other than like, 1.7 million. Holy crap. There's something about slow and steady wins the race in the end. Like we can make all these plays we want. Go for our lotto tickets, and fantastic if you get it. But if you don't get out in time, Vanguard, slow and steady. 8% year in, year out. There you go. That's what they're plotting along. And that graph, they're plotting along, and they're slowly going up over time. And they're doing well, and then everyone else is like, woohoo, 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 woohoo. And while it's still going up, woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. That's what you're up against. So you can take 8% year over year, or you can gamble it all and hope to get 1,000,000% 1 year and just get hammered the next. But my goodness, Grandpa Barney, your coworker's friend that's got to feel like the worst desperation in the entire world. Probably going to file Chapter 7 and be like, I don't have it. All done. Got to start over from scratch again. Oof. Man. Josh Walker, happy birthday, Houston. Does the gold at Fort Knox cause an isostatic depression? Ooh, that's a good question. It's 4,000 tons. So go back to the calculator. Turn you off. So it's 4,000 tons and change. Whoops. Come on. Clear. Let's call it 4,000. So, oops, I did that math wrong. 4,000 tons is 2,000 pounds each. So, 8 million pounds of gold at Fort Knox. So, how many square feet is Fort Knox? Three-story, 880,000 square foot building. Complex of 6 interconnected buildings sitting on 104 acres. So that's a big building. So it's pretty spread out. So my guess is that they don't want too many load-bearing walls to have too much stress. and the floor not too many problems. So my guess is probably pretty spread out over the 880,000 square feet. So let's say that 800,000 square feet of that is actual vault, and the 80,000 square feet is, like lockers for guys M16s or something. I don't know. It's desks. So 8 million pounds spread over 800,000 square feet means you're at 10 pounds per square foot on average, plus the weight of the building, the thickness of the walls and whatnot. But you're at 10 pounds of gold per square foot. So my guess is it's not stacked very high, nor is it very thick. So no, I doubt that there's an isostatic depression as a result of all the gold in Fort Knox. So, yes. Oh, it says here in May 2010, the Human Resource Center of Excellence, the largest office building in the state, opened in Fort Knox. Well, there you go. How about that weird piece of trivia? Okay. Oh boy, I'm really far behind. I am so far. This might be a record. I might be farther behind now than I've ever been in a chat in the history of Houston's chats. Geez, my knees. Okay. I might as well do one of these because we haven't done any yet today. So let's go to a coordinate and let's talk about that while I reset. And bam. There's only so much doom and gloom we talk about. Might as well talk about something out here in the eastern United States at this spot right there, which is Serpent Mound. Is this Ohio? Is that where Serpent Mound is? Where are we? We're way south of that. No, we're in Ohio. Yeah. Yeah, Serpent Mound is an ancient snake thing that some native peoples created. They made a snake you can see from space. I always found it interesting that we made a lot of things that like the gods could see without the ability to look down on ourselves. But yeah, so this is a little snake that the natives made. Pretty cool. I dig it. Thank you. Oi. Okay, I'm scrolling. I'm gonna scroll back past like an hour and a half of chats here so I can get to some stuff at the end that we can deal with. Where are we? Michael Anthony, I'm only in oil stocks, which some are not here yet, and oil going to trade $100, $110 area and buying debt-free oil companies like EGY. That rates can't hurt. It might be a pretty good hedge to be in oil. I mean, Michael, probably not a bad idea. Get out everything else, be in oil, because if we're running out of diesel fuel on the East Coast here next week, diesel prices are going to go insane. The prices of fuel that you'll see on the East Coast is going to be absolutely bonkers. And you'll see like semi-trucks trying to pull into like a Chevron station to fill up on diesel because they can't get anywhere else. And it's just going to be a nightmare as they try to find diesel anywhere they can get it. Pankaj Kumar, Houston, since U.S. dollar is not linked with gold reserve, Fed can print infinite money and keep pumping the market. Why would Moass happen then? Because they won't print money until they have to. The only way they're going to start printing money is if the banks go under, and the only way the banks go under, I think, is if Moass happens. So, yeah. Okay. Michael Anthony, Hive is a Bitcoin company that's making profits. Did hit a new low today. Even has profit earnings. I don't know about Hive. I know nothing about them. But I mean, there are people that they mine coins and they can still sell them and make money. Right now, the rate of the price has dropped in the last few months. I don't know how many coins are be profitable that they mine. And plus, getting new higher-end graphics cards to do the processing is getting harder and harder because of the chip shortage and all that jazz. We've all seen how expensive those 3000 series graphics cards are. They are really expensive. Ryan Russell, BlackRock 2 years from now is going to be down so hard from buying homes way over value. I think you're right. This might even be time more calculator time. So, oops, got to turn off the Google Earth first. BlackRock bought 1 million homes. I mean, last fall was 800,000. So let's just call it 1 million homes because that makes the math easier. At an average price of $428,000 means they have $428 billion in homes. Now, 2007, go back to this one. So 2007 saw the average housing price fall about $100,000 across the nation. Well, $60,000. So that was about quarter. So about quarter of the price. So let's just say that they could stand to lose $125 billion on their investment in all these homes. Plus, the homes they buy are probably depreciating in general because who has the infrastructure in place to maintain 1,000 housing units the way they should be? It's going to cost a fortune. You got to mow the lawns. You got to make sure there's no leaks. You got to repair roofs. You got to fix porch lights. You got to do a whole bunch of maintenance that if you are a landlord who owns 5 or 10 homes or a company that owns maybe 1,000 homes, you can easily set up your own system in place to make sure that there's supervisors who can fix all this stuff. But when you have 1 million homes and you have to deal with subcontractors to do all this work, you'd be like, oh, subcontracting company, this property management company, can you look at these 5,000 homes across the state of Missouri for me? And they're like, yeah, totally. You give us a check of $1 million a month and we will look at all that stuff. And then they don't do shit. Why? Because they're not motivated to do anything. You're a big giant company. You're just some faceless person is cutting you a check every month from New York. And you go, oh, yeah, totally look at these homes for you. And they go, oh, can you verify these homes are great for me? Like, yeah, we can totally do that for you. And they don't do shit. These homes are going to fall into disrepair. They're going to be worthless. And losing $128 billion is enough to cause all sorts of concern for your investors. Oof. BlackRock may have just shit the bed on that one. William Morgan, May 11th, 2022. Russia's ruble has turned into the world's best performing currency this year per Bloomberg. Yeah. I don't know how much of that is not just gaming the system by Russia itself, because no one's using ruble. You aren't using rubles. I'm not using rubles. People in Russia don't want the rubles. They want hard currency to get the hell out of Russia. So I don't know how much stake to put in that, but I think it's kind of funny. KGS, in the old days, the Fed and other national banks did devalue their currencies to maintain the gold standard. Isn't that a possibility for a success? Yeah, but how much are you going to devalue it? If any American can collect, a few weeks' pay and go to a reserve bank and say, "Give me gold for this," you could run out of gold in a hurry, right? So you're going to have to make the gold standard such an inflated price that right now we're at $2,000 more or less for an ounce. Maybe make it $10,000-$20,000 an ounce. Well, if that's what we're going to do, then the television you bought for $500 you now have to buy for $15,000-$20,000. $10,000, somewhere around there. That has a psychological effect on the population, and in their mind they're gonna be like, I don't want the money, I want the gold, or I want the euros, or I want something else. And I just don't see the gold standard as being, to me, people that harken back to the gold standard are like people who are like, I wish we were in Leave It to Beaver 1950s. And my dad, who's old as shit, grew up in the 1950s, was an old enough age to know what was going on. Graduated high school in 1954. He's like, why on earth do you want to go back to the 1950s? Everyone's mom was on methamphetamines. Racism was codified into federal law, and so it was absolutely racist and segregation and awful. Half the girls were pregnant in 8th grade and didn't finish school. Everyone's dads had PTSD and beat the hell out of them from the war. And he's like, there was nothing to glorify. What they hearkened back to was this image of perfection that they never lived through. It was on television. The McCarthy hearings were ruining lives. We're on the brink of nuclear war at all times with Russia. So when people are like, oh, let's go back to the gold standard. Okay, what was happening when the gold standard was in place? We lived through how many depressions? Just countless economic depressions. We had child labor and average lifespan of 40 years, and terrible public infrastructure, no public schools. Like they're looking at the gold standard as if it's some sort of savior from all these problems, but these problems were even worse back then. So I don't think the gold standard is going to save anything. I don't think it's like a catch-all, like, oh, we just go back to the gold standard, everything's better. No. Things were worse back then. And largely because we had a gold standard and we didn't have the ability to do things like quantitative easing and printing money to slow down like collapse of the entire economy. Like these methods we have now kind of, like, while they can cause problems of their own, they kind of saved us from cataclysm over and over and over. So I don't know. Okay. Rico likes the shirt too. It's a good shirt. I love this shirt. Okay. Josh Walker wants more intros. A tremendous incorrect Houston on Coinbase. I just did a cash out US dollar under assets for $7,000 is processing now. Will take 5 days. So the $250 thing, William Morgan, can you show us where that was coming from? Yeah, Rico says Fort Knox is empty. I don't know. Okay. Fort Knox is hollow like the moon. Go, Brownie, all my goals on grandma's finger around her neck and ears. That's the way to do it. What you will see is in the next year, a lot of these rich guys, their fortunes are going to obliterate because there's Ponzi schemes and, RICO charges against these hedge funds and stuff. And these dudes are going to escape. They're going to escape the nation. They're going to flee to non-extradition countries. And they're going to do so covered, their wives and daughters covered head to toe in really expensive jewelry. And they'll be doing things like, they'll put bedazzled jeans on their toddler covered in $1 million in bedazzled diamonds. They will do whatever they can to get as much of that wealth out of the U.S. and go live another life in a non-extradition country. And they'll sell it at auction in Dubai at the Christie's auction house or Sotheby's, and they'll get their cash back. The Maestros, so they were a Ponzi scheme real estate couple here in Seattle. Come on. Maestros, Seattle, fled France. Yeah, okay. So this dude, the Maestros, they fled Seattle. They were giant property magnate Ponzi scheme, blew up in their face. They put $20 million in jewels on his wife's fingers and fled to France. So this is what they do. This is how they operate. You buy gems and jewels because they're small. Like you can go out, all these doomsday prepper guys are like duffel bags full of Krugerrands and stuff. $1 million in gold you cannot physically carry. $1 million on a ring, an old lady can put it on her finger and carry it from country to country, and no one even bothers checking at customs. You make it look like crappy costume jewelry, and you can go right across borders. The drug cartels, the Sinaloa cartels, literally would bedazzle baby jeans, make them look like crappy Ed Hardy jeans, and put them on a toddler, and that toddler would get on a flight, fly back and forth across the world, and they would take the gems off, and they could launder money all over the world that way. That is the intrinsic value of high quality gemstones, and that is where the value is moving currency around. So these rich guys, they go to auction and they buy this stuff specifically so that they can move from one nation to the other. If I go to Norway and I go to the fish market in Bergen, where they have really, really, really cheap, beautiful, soft fur coats. For $400 I can buy a beautiful fur coat that would sell for $50,000 here in the US. I put that fur coat on and I get on a plane or stuff it in my bag. I get to the United States, customs is going to go, hey, where'd you get this fur coat? I say, I paid $400 for it. Like, yes, but it's worth $50,000. You now owe us like $25,000 in taxes. I'm screwed. But if I go to Norway and I buy $1 million ring and put it on my wife's finger, and she flies from Norway to the United States, customs doesn't even notice. Right? It's just her wedding ring. That's all it is. Like, there's nothing taxable about that. That's how these dudes launder stuff like crazy. They do an amazing job. And years ago, I wrote an article on money laundering. Yeah. Here we go. How to launder money. That's what we want. So if you guys want to read about money laundering that I wrote how long ago? 2015, so 7 years ago. There you go. How to launder money. They were using, they had switched over to a lot of digital currency. You could easily send Bitcoin across the world at no cost, essentially, and you can move millions of dollars that way. But now that all these cryptocurrencies are starting to falter, you may see these folks going back to selling their gems. So customs just does not pay attention to gemstones. You can deck yourself out, get away with it. Okay. Sacco, $1 million is only 20 kilograms in gold. So 1 pound is $21,000. So, man, multiply that sucker by 40? Yeah. So 40 ounces is $864,000. Sorry, 40 pounds is $864,000. So basically, you got to carry around a bag of dog food for $1 million bucks. Or more, right? So, 1 million, divide that by 1,800. So you need 555 ounces. Divide that sucker by 12. 46 pounds. So you gotta lug around 46 pounds of gold for $1 million bucks, or 1 5-carat blue diamond. 5 carats is a gram. So 1 gram versus 46 pounds to move $1 million bucks. You're gonna be moving the diamonds, man. That's for sure. Okay. All right, chat. Reset there, and I will go back up. It's 4 o'clock. How much was my voice? I gotta get some food too. Parataran, where on Fidelity did it say we would set limit orders above market price? Trying to find how high I can set limit orders. I think Fidelity's allowing people 500% above market price. So, 1,000% above market right now would be what? $800. So $400 you can set for GME at the moment, and they'll let you do it. Which no one wants to set that. They want higher than that. So, yeah. Oh yeah, something about the Chicago Board of Exchange is no longer doing options. They're not tying options to the New York market anymore. I haven't had much chance to dive into that, but that's crazy. That's wild. Rico, bro, that shirt is pretty spectacular. I love these shirts. My favorite shirts are Pearl Snap 1970s cowboy shirts. They are just my favorite category of shirt in existence. I don't have as many as I'd like. I was wearing the Black Rose one, was the one I wore on the Gist's first podcast. That's the one that people see the most, but this one's my favorite out of all of them. It's a little snug, but you know, it works. Project Sun, did you see where a $350,000 Bored Ape sold for $115? Ponzi scheme is falling apart. Yeah, I mean the NFT of Jack's first tweet on Twitter was originally $2.9 million and sold for a $2.9 million loss. So yeah, all these NFTs are falling apart. There may be a rebound in them, but when I first coined the phrase NFTs are Beanie Boy babies for tech bros, I meant it. And it tickles me pink to see people say it still, what, a year and a half on from when I first tweeted that out, and then I said it on that Gist interview. It's true. These are Beanie Babies. No one gives a shit about a JPEG of a monkey, except for the people who were in it at the time, riding high, like, oh my god, I can make $1 million off of this. And if you did not get out, if you were the purchaser of that monkey, and not the seller of that monkey, 6 months ago, a year ago, it's toast. You took out collateral, took out a loan on your monkey picture for $1 million, and now crypto's crashing really hard, and that monkey ain't worth shit. You're getting margin called, man. You're getting margin called hard. Everton Houston, is not strange that the market's down and VIX and UVXY are not. Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. Okay. I think that might be it for me today, guys. Do you have anything to add? That's a no. That's a no from the monkey butt. She is like, don't touch me. Big Dog, do you have anything to add? Nope. He's got nothing. I got nothing. Cat's in the other room. He's got nothing. Yeah. So, see you guys Friday? It's only 4 o'clock here. I will definitely do a... tonight I will do a Twitch. So sometime tonight, if you guys want to chat some more, any other weird news comes out, I'll do a GeoGuessr Twitch stream. And, you know, those are always intimate. Like, there's 600 of you in here, but only like 15 show up to Twitch. So, by all means, come on by. Hang out Twitch if you are a night owl, and we'll do some GeoGuessr and do some chit-chatting, and they're fun. So here you go. Here's your present. Oh, I get 2 presents for you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Rah! And one of these.